strange little poem, but hey, let's let it out. Let me be. Give me round things, the profound things, the oohs, the ohs, the woohoos that astound me things, like full moons in a crisp night skies, or the midday sun with the clouds floating by, fill my life with lift me off the ground things. Give me round things, the glad to have around things, like snowballs and bubbles, balloons and gobstoppers, hula hoops, bouncy balls, space hoppers. Surround me with spin me round and round and round and round things. Oh yes, and give me roundish things, curvy, undulating mound things, like hillocks and babies' bums, buttocks, breasts and pregnant tums. Go on, show me those curvy, round delights. I'm compelled to caress things. Give me round things, commonly found things, glistening ponds, full rainbows, white clouds, autumn apples on bending boughs. May I never take for granted glorious round things. Surround me with round things so I can break free from order and rigidity. Keep your rulers, boxes, sticks and spears, cages and straitjacketing fears. Keep me soundly grounded by filling my life with, round things. Let me break barriers, watch me ball bounce, make the tallest of walls fall. I'll reach unknown heights, but above all, let my words unfurl as soft, round tendrils that coil and curl through my world in loving whirls. Let me be a tree ring. Somebody mentioned Verbalise. Anne Wilson runs a really fantastic poetry spoken word night at the brewery in Kendal. The next one is on the 27th of Saturday the 27th of this month, and I'm the guest poet. And next month, a Big Charlie Poet's one of the things. So if you've never been, it's really, and sometimes it does sell out as well. So
I think the month after that is Luke as well.
So right,
so in fact you've got a triple whammy if you want to go to Verbalise at the brewery. Last Saturday of the month, tickets advised.
Right, I'm going to do just one that really objects, things, we've all got things from them, but obviously Edward knows stories and histories to so many things here. And this is one that I didn't write it for here, but it immediately came to my mind, because I'd carried what seems to be an insignificant object, a lipstick, in my makeup bag since I've been 11. It was my mum's. And last year I sort of came across it and just so many memories. And so this poem is called My Mam. My mam was Betty Davis, or Greta Garbo. On those rare nights when she would go and leave me and Dad at home, she'd hang her pinny behind the bedroom door, take off the slippers that she always wore, fold her headscarf into the dressing table drawer, and transform into a star. And I'd watch as the hands that worked the mangle and yanked the tangles from my hair would tease the curls from the rollers and unfurl them with such care. And then the little mist of spray and just enough of brown on face with a powder puff. With breath held tight and eyes open wide, I'd watch the lipstick twist and the red rise. Left slide, right slide, smack lips tight and press down gently on a hanky white. Then she'd be off down the path with no rush or fuss, and I'd peer through the window till she got on the bus and race back to the table and cradle that hanky with the shadow red kiss that she'd left just for me. And I knew there'd be a red carpet when she got off the 33, with crowds and photographers admiring her beauty, because they would all love her, but not as much as me. And all of this was in Salford Council's overspill suburbia. And all of this was at the end of the 50s, still painted with post-war sepia, with no hint of 60s psychedelia that was round the corner. And even now, as I dig in my bag overstuffed with tat and disorder, I'll feel those ridges, and I'm back. New York, London, Paris, Rome, Estee Lauder. And there's a tear in my eye, because I no longer see magic in the mundane, just grown-up realities. But there's a bloody big smile too. Because 50 years on, none of her dignity and charm have gone. She doesn't wear makeup up on her face to show that she's got beauty and grace. It's there in every wrinkle, every line, every gesture, every movement, so refined. So here's to you and all that you are, to my mam, forever, a star. Thank you. She'll be 89 and she's wonderful. Very soon. Got time for 3 more?
You do.
Alright. I got thinking, here, on the day that I was visiting, at the beginning, airplane MH117 had just been shot down over Syria and over Ukraine, and Syria was brewing, and that juxtaposition of it prompted quite a lot of poems about other ways of doing things, other ways of being, other ways of and this is a strange one that came out of those thoughts. It's called Broken Biscuits. Broken biscuits. You slapped me right back with those words. 2 little words and I time travelled. Back to Grandma's Sundays, back to after-school snack days. Milk, cool from the larder, or warmed and skinned. Orange squash, treat days, sweetened and hot, always with wonky biscuits. Handfuls of broken jigsaw bits, scooped lucky dip misshapes, chocolate, cream, coconut, encrusted with sugar crystal jewels. These treasures were shared with laughing friends. We'd mix and match our spoils to spell our names or form fantastical animal shapes. Grown-ups were unlucky. Visitors got no choice. One shape only was offered. Sometimes it was oblong, malted milk or a fig roll. Mostly round, rich tea or digestive. Unwrapped from solid stacks served on patterned plates. They got what they were given, crumb-free. At some point, I found myself in trying to fit in times when friends were worn like Blue Peter badges, collected like stamps, and I cared more about appearance and acceptance than sharing. Times when a best friend was someone who said they were your best friend and had pretty hair. Taking me to university, my parents hired a car for the day, worried that a battered Cortina would mark me. I prayed my new roommates would be impressed by my clothes, my suitcases, my perm. Sitting cross-legged on the kitchen floor, we gulped tea and spoke awkwardly, sharing stuttered reinventions of ourselves. I brought out a packet of milk chocolate digestives, to a cluck of whoops and smiles of approving belonging, and we dunked. Broken biscuits, I echoed wistfully, and smiled, valuing my life so chock full of broken biscuits like you. About the gloriousness of difference and how we're all wonderfully not the same. I've got a lot of friends and family who are on the autistic spectrum, and a lot and this was actually written about a friend and her son, and it's called Mum Waits at the School Gates. I should actually say, my son's got Asperger's, and even as a child he was always saying, he does not suffer from Asperger's, he suffers from people who don't take the time to find out what it's about. That's very true. He was very wise. Okay, here goes. Mum waits at the school gates. Here, difference. It's a disease. They fear that it's contagious. So I stand surrounded, yet alone, stare at shoes, sky, never faces. A bald one braves a word my way. They turn, I freeze, I hear myself say, yes, it's very warm today. But soon they've gone and left me be as they go to greet their mini-me's who are streaming out excitedly, oozing pent-up energy like popcorn in ricochet. And I'm mesmerised by those bodies that bounce in and out of huddles and grab cuddles again and again. How do they know the rules of this alien game? And at last, always last, there he stands at the entrance, straying hair flopping, head bobbing to its own rhythmic pace. I see his fingers flick in suppressed autistic flutter flap, and drag behind like an afterthought is his bag. Scratchy jumpers bundled under arm like a squirming pet, its sleeve giving a tail wag. Then he sees me. His eyes spark, and we snap together in an invisible elastic twang, and he runs to me with his lollopy gallop whoop and chatters without pause about dinosaurs, Pokemon, an endless loop that inevitably spins me into invisibility, because we're safe and unbound, and this is how it should be. And later, as my eyes close, I'll see again those faces with their looks, however brief, of thank God it's not me relief. And I'll feel pity, because I'll never see the light inside their child like me, or see the world like he, or share like we. For he is mine, he is divine, and we're fine. Strange one. I wanted to write, one of the poems I was trying to write was about the stream, and I wanted to do a poem about not necessarily just doing as you're told, but finding your own way. And this poem came to me in a very strange way. I'd been appearing at a music festival just outside York a few weeks ago, and I've been struggling to write. I've got about 5 poems on the go about wood, and yeah, I know it does strange things to this place, doesn't it? And it really weird coincidence happened. I think on the time I came, myself and Edward Ryan talks about coincidences, but all the way over in York, on the Monday, there was a car boot sale. And this tiny little, it was a beautiful place just outside York, a tiny little village. So I wandered down and got some poetry books, like you do. And at the very last car, I got chatting to this fella because he'd made lots of things made out of wood. And I said something about poetry, and I've been writing poetry for something I'm doing in the lakes. He says, oh, whereabouts in the lakes? And I say, oh, near Kendal. Whereabouts near Kendal? Oh, you won't know, it's a little place. He used to live round here, all right? He knew Edward and one of his daughters and things. And he actually gave me the inspiration for this, because he particularly renovates cricket tables, and apparently cricket tables are like three-legged tables, and in olden days when floors were uneven, all tables had 3 legs, and they weren't as wonky. So I'm going to try and do it without I might end up having to do this. Okay, I'll try it. It's called Standing. Grow strong, they said. Be like a flagpole. Shoulders back, head up, eyes front, straighten up. Be the tallest tree in the forest. Show us your backbone, they cried. I tried. I did my best. But when time came to cross the stream, instead I bent. Became a something. Sorry, I knew I could do this. Okay. Became a swaying triped. One arm working as a leg, the other waving up overhead. My gaze stayed low on the rocks ahead till I got to the other side. And then I straightened, turned, looked back and watched them, dipping and bobbing and twisting and twirling, poo sticking downstream. This is my anti-fracking poem. I wanted to, because at Barton Moss there was a protest camp, and I used to work there, actually down the lane, and I didn't want to do a big ranty, angry one, so I did a sweet one instead. And this is, the words I read, I probably won't be exactly what's on there, because I'll sort of make it up as I go along as well. It's about a teacher, because it's about, I was thinking, part why Edward wants people to come here is to be influenced, to think, to see other ways. And so this is about a teacher I had when I was little. She smelled of patchouli, not lily of the valley. She wore earrings that dangled, not studs. But she stood out a mile in a high, happy tip-tappy heels, while other teachers blended in sensible smiles and flat shoes. She was Miss Gardener. And we were her saplings, planted in 4 rows of 8, stretching to her sunshine glow. And oh, how we grew. That year, every single council house kid in that class grew. She told us that boundaries weren't marked by the route of the 36 bus, or whatever we got told at home, or the 11 plus. She said we were grains of sand that would learn to sparkle like stars, and she gave us the earth, and we took it eagerly. She told us that water was our most precious treasure, worth more than all the earth's gold and silver put together. This reacher into the unpolluted pools of our minds was more than a teacher. She gave us knowledge and possibilities, and we gave her our hearts. We took her words with us up to the big school, used them like magical fertiliser dust. I took mine on to university and grew in the certainty that I would blossom. I like to think that she lives on in us, that her ghost walks across the moss, that protesters heard high, happy, tip-tappy footsteps and catch a whiff of patchouli on the wind. Thank you, it's been great.